everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. We have 1 week left of June. And when I say 1 week, I really mean 1 week because I literally am leaving to go to Europe on the 30th of June. So we literally have exactly a week to try and finish my June TBR. I have 4 books left on my June TBR. One of them being my Patreon book club book of the month. And the reason I haven't started it till now is because I was really trying to find the physical copy of it and just couldn't find it anywhere. So I ended up having to get it on my Kindle, which is fine. That is the one we're going to be starting with today. It is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Alona Andrews. I am so excited to jump into this one. All I know is that our main protagonist wakes up in one of her favorite fantasy books that she's reread a million times. She wakes up in the world of the fantasy book, so she knows what's going on. That's the first one we're going to be jumping into. And then the other books on my TBR, we have The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston, her newest release. We have Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It, which I don't have physically, but I can always go and grab. And then we also have Daughter of No Worlds. So a bit of a range there. We've got some magical realism, some fantasy romance, maybe some high fantasy. I'm not really sure what This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me is giving, but we've got a bit of a range to get into, which I'm excited. I think that'll help me get through it all because I'm not going to be reading like the same thing over and over again. So I'm excited, and I think we should just jump straight into reading. I am about 30% into This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. I have to say, this is a really fun book. And that is truly like the best thing I've gotten from it so far. It's giving me very nostalgic feelings. I don't know if it's the way it's written. I don't know if it's just like what I always dreamed of as a teenager, because our main character has basically read these books back to back multiple times. And there are 2 books in this trilogy. The third one has yet to come out. So it's kind of reminding me instantly of like Name of the Wind, because if you're part of that fandom, you understand. We have been waiting for the 3rd book in that series for like ridiculously long time. And it's kind of that situation for her. She started reading these when she was going through like a breakup or something in high school, and they became her form of escapism. And so then whenever something was kind of overwhelming her or just she needed a form of comfort, she would go back to these books. She would read them, and just the 2 in the series that were out. So it kind of ends on a big cliffhanger, and she falls into this world. She has all this information. She knows so much about this world, but she's like, how can I kind of use that as my advantage? Like, how can I use that to my advantage, and how can I help this world? So it's a really cool plot. It's very fun, and I just feel like that's what I always dreamed of when I was younger. Like the idea of like falling into a world that you know so well, because there are so many books like that that I just read over and over and over again when I was younger. And they truly are just, honestly, to this day, they still are just my form of comfort. I would reread them in a heartbeat if I could. I mean, I have free will to. I just am trying to read new books as well. So the actual plot is really fun. I'm liking our world as well. It's one of those classic medieval feeling fantasy worlds, you know, with like horses, and like we've got this line of poverty and like the royalty and everything like that. I will say the one thing that's a little bit like I'm surprised is still going on is the information overload. Like we obviously get thrown into this world. She knows so much about it, but we don't. And every time we kind of meet a new aspect, so maybe we meet a character, maybe we enter this new village or something, she'll give us the rundown of it, basically tell us how this influences the plot overall and what we need to know about it, which is great. But it's just been going on for a while now, and I'm like, this is a lot of information. I will say, I think because the writing is so, like, it just flows really well. It's really easy to understand. It's very digestible. That makes it a lot easier to be immersed in this world. And if it was more confusing writing, then it would be very hard because of just the amount of information we're getting. We have gotten introduced to, I think, our core characters. I think. Maybe they'll change, but like as of now, we have a pretty set cast of characters, which I'm really liking. Honestly, I really like our main protagonist, Maggie, as well. She is very kind of chill, but also not. Like, she's in a fantasy world. She's kind of just what you'd expect you would do in that situation. You're like, I've got this information that I can use to my advantage. I don't have anything else. I'm not like a combat skilled girl or anything. I'm not made for this period of time. We don't know why she's there. She just fell in. So I feel like I have some questions going on, but in terms of writing style and stuff, it's so easy to read. I was very much in the mood for this, like in the mood for a fast-paced, fun fantasy, and it's really giving that. I also think it's the first in a series, because on my Kindle it says Maggie the Undying 1. So I'm guessing it's the first in a series, which is fun. But yeah, brand new author to me. I think this is a husband and wife duo, by the way, that has written this, and I think they have a backlog. So if I like it, we can go into the backlog. But that's always really fun. I love a co-authored book. I think it brings a lot to the book. Like, we've got a lot to unpack. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm going to keep reading this afternoon. We'll see how far I get in. about 60% into This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. And honestly, I'm having a good time. I'm really, really liking our characters. I'm so sorry if I'm talking weird. I have a massive ulcer on my tongue. I'm really tired. And it's like actually getting in the way of me speaking. I can't explain it, but anyway, I'm really liking the world we're set in. I will say, I feel like there's one or two I don't know whether I'd call them inconsistencies, just little things in the sense that like we're using modern names. I don't know when the term highway robbery came in, but I'm guessing it wasn't until we had highways of some sort, and obviously we don't have highways in this world, and like so that kind of stuff I'm just like, oh, and it wasn't Maggie, our protagonist from the future, like, or from our world using it. It was one of the other characters. So there's one or two things that kind of take me out of it for a second. I'm quite invested in the story, but I can kind of put it down and forget about it, if you know what I mean. It's one of those stories, but when I'm in it and I'm having a good time. We also had quite the plot twist in the middle that kind of set us, oh hi Mace, that kind of set us on like an entirely different direction. Not in a different direction, but I feel like it picked up the pace and it picked up the stakes and the intensity of the plot, which I'm really, really glad about, because it was, as much as I was enjoying it, it was getting a little bit almost repetitive and like not a lot was happening. And I was kind of like, I was almost waiting for something to happen. So when that did happen, I was like, okay, I'm glad everything is picking up a little bit more. It's definitely a long book. Like it's feeling like a long book. It's still good. I really, really like Caden. And I really like Clover. I'm always just a sucker for like the small side characters that I feel like do add a lot to the plot and just add a lot to like dynamics and everything. I love them so much. I think they're so cute. I don't really want to say too much about our characters because I kind of almost feel like it's a little bit of a spoiler. I will say we're still getting that information dumping. Every time we get introduced to something new, it's just boom. Here's a paragraph or three about what we just got introduced to and how that is affecting everything and how that affects the plot and how that will affect the outcome. Because basically our protagonist, Maggie, is trying to save as many characters as she can. She knows how this book ends, and clearly this book ends on a bit of a cliffhanger where you don't know if everyone's safe, you don't know if we're going to end up in the happily ever after. So she's basically trying to, I guess, stop or change the outcome of the second book or of the first two books in this trilogy. She's trying to help out her characters as much as she can, and obviously she has a soft spot for some of her characters. It's just such a unique concept. Like I'm having fun because it's so unlike anything I've read before, and I do like that we do have these moments where she'll say a word and like they're not familiar with it, and so it draws us back to the fact that yeah, she is just an outsider in this fantasy world and she's not part of this. Like she doesn't really know what she's doing. She's just using her information and trying to do the best she can. So I'm really liking it at the moment. I think it's really, really fun. Definitely some bits that I think could like up it a little bit more, but honestly, I'm having a really good time. I don't have many complaints. Hopefully I'll read as much as I can tonight and see how close we get done. I do need to finish this soon. So hopefully tomorrow we will be finishing this. Okay, I do have a pretty big update for you. So first of all, I did finish This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me. I ended up liking the last part of it. It was fun, it was good, but I will say I almost feel like the feeling of nostalgia and like the comforting feeling that I had the entire time almost started, I don't want to say to bore me, but I just kind of was like wanting a little bit more high stakes. I think that's the best way to say it. I just wanted a little bit more. I kind of wanted to be on the edge of my seat a little bit more, and whilst things did really build and like the tension did rise and things did happen, it just felt a little bit, I don't know, there was something missing for me. I think I'm gonna give it like a 4.25. So it was really, really fun. I would recommend. I really liked the writing. I really liked the world. Very classic kind of fantasy. It really felt like, you know, you just falling into your childhood favorite fantasy book. And obviously that's what it's meant to feel like. So I did really enjoy it. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy it because there was so many pros. I really don't have that many cons. I think the only things that like made it a little bit less of a higher rating for me was the fact that number one, so much information all the time, and that started to get I don't want to say overwhelming, but almost a little bit tedious in a way. I was like, okay, more, okay, how relevant is this? Because some of the information we got was relevant for a second, but it probably could have been like almost paraphrased, you know? It could have been said in a lot shorter terms. And then as I said, I just kind of was hoping for a little bit more action. I did really like the kind of sense of found family that we got. I didn't love the romance. I definitely wasn't a fan of that, but I really loved the characters. I really liked the sense of found family. I love Caden and Clover. They are my favorite. I was honestly towards the end, I was like reading it for them. I loved them so much. So if you love a found family trope, if you love that, read this because it's really fun. But yeah, honestly, those are kind of my thoughts. So I did start my next read and It's a very exciting one. It is Daughter of No Worlds by Cassara Broadbent. Obviously, I have read Serpent and the Wings of Night by her, but I have been a little bit intimidated to get into this one because Serpent and the Wings of Night I really, really enjoyed, but then the second one was a bit of a letdown for me. So I've been a little bit intimidated to get into a new series by her, but I've heard really good things. And then obviously Mads picked this one for my TBR for the month, and I was like, that is the push I need. So we are currently at chapter 16, page 120. So a little bit of the way through. And first of all, I want to say I'm having a really good time. I am really enjoying our main protagonist. She isn't feeling like every other fantasy main protagonist that I've read before, which is always my biggest critique when it comes to fantasy romances. She just feels really soft and kind, and like she's doing these big things and they're quite dramatic and she's endured so much, but she just wants to do it for the better of her people and the people she loves and everything like that. So basically her name is Tizana, and she has just bought her freedom as a slave. She's been a slave for so many years and she finally broke out, but at a cost. And she's had to run away from Threll, from the man that was kind of keeping her captive. It says it in the blurb, but she ended up murdering him. So she has to run away so that she doesn't like get blamed for all of that, and she doesn't get taken captive again, essentially. And so she ends up pledging herself to the orders and basically undertakes an apprenticeship. Usually these apprenticeships are taken when you're like 12, 13 years old, and she's like 21, I think she is. But it's basically an apprenticeship that learns you how to wield magic correctly. And then I think from there you can go into like the military or fight or something like that. I'm not sure about what you do after that apprenticeship, but she gets assigned to someone called Max, who hasn't taken on an apprentice in years, but he is bound by the orders. He did all of it, so he's kind of like, he has no choice but to take her very grudgingly. He does this very grudgingly. So far, I'm really, really liking that. I'm actually really liking the writing. Very easy to read, really immersive, really quickly, like definitely into this world a lot. It's also interesting because where she's learning her apprenticeship, Tizaya doesn't speak their language, or like she does, but she's not fluent in it. So she's kind of picking up bits of pieces. So I feel like the way she speaks is slightly like broken, and it kind of adds more to her character though. I feel like I can picture her voice in my head quite well because of that, like with a little bit of an accent. So yeah, only good things to say so far. And I'm very excited to be in this world. I'm about halfway through Daughter of No Worlds now. I know I said earlier that I really was liking our main protagonist, and like that still stands. I really like her. I like how soft and wholesome she is, and just she's very kind. Like she only has kindness in her heart. That's what she wants to do. But now that kindness is kind of getting her into a situation that I'm not exactly obsessed with. Like I'm enjoying it. It's just a sticky situation. I just don't trust a lot of our characters. I trust Max and I trust Tizana, and that is pretty much it. I'm really, really liking Max and Tizana's dynamic. I will say I almost forgot that this was a fantasy romance. I was kind of almost just so invested in our protagonist's storyline and her kind of comeback and learning in this like apprenticeship position and everything like that I kind of forgot that there was going to be romance in this. And then it started creeping in, and it's been a slow burn so far. Like really there's not a lot. It's very much little hints at a romance, which I always really, really like. That's the kind of romantasy that I really enjoy. I'm also really liking the writing. Like it's nothing incredible, the writing, but it's very, very easy to read. As you saw, we just got to part 2 and we've had a real shift in, I want to say situations, but also just in character dynamics and everything. Like this is gonna cause, like we're just getting set on a completely different direction to what I thought we were going to be in. I want to get more magic, I think. We've gotten little, like we definitely had an entry point, I guess, to the magic system, but I'd like to see how they can kind of harness and use that magic more and see how that's going to, I guess, just impact our storyline as a whole. But I don't know where we're going to go from here. I just wasn't expecting this. I feel like we were on such a kind of simple path of just like an apprenticeship, and she was learning how to harness magic and learning how to like fight and everything like that. And now we've just taken this entirely different turn that I did not see coming, and it set us on a completely different direction, but I think I really, really am going to enjoy it. I also really like Max. I think he is he's one of those characters that you know that there's more to them. They're hiding a lot. There's a lot of layers to them, and I feel like slowly as the book's going on, we're starting to get a deeper understanding of him, and we're starting to see where he's coming from. I feel like there's a lot of history that we've got to undo there. I feel like he's got a lot of trauma in his past. I think we're about to get a big explanation on him and a big character development moment, a bit of a character arc. And Tizana is still, I actually really like her. I just like that she's a really different kind of protagonist. Like she's definitely driven well, no, she's constantly telling Max that she isn't driven by anger. She just wants to make change. And like, there's no point in being really angry at the people that have wronged her because that's not going to get her anywhere. And I'm like, that's really refreshing. Because I feel like a lot of the time our fantasy romance protagonists are just like fury bound and they just go in full anger. Yeah, you know, they're very female rage, I guess, which we do love female rage, but this is kind of it in a different sense. A different approach has been taken. I also would like to understand what's going on politically a little bit more as well. I definitely think we're kind of on the brink of war and we've got rebel attacks happening throughout the country, but I'd like a little bit of more scope to that. We're very much focusing on Threll, where Tizana came from. So we are starting to unpack what's happening there and what's been happening there, but I would like to understand a little bit more and maybe like, is there a map in this? I can't remember. Hang on. Maybe like just a bit of a broader scope. Yeah, there's no map. This is an indie published version. That's why it's like so thick and it's very heavy. But yeah, this is an indie published version of the book. So that's probably why there's no map, which is a little bit annoying. I'd like to visualize it a little bit more. I think that would help me. To be honest though, the writing is pretty, like you can visualize things pretty easily. I just want to see the scope of the broader world that we're set in. I think that would be interesting. But yeah, so far so good. Nothing I can really fault about it so far, I don't think. I think she is a character that's been through a lot and I always like that, but as I said, very different approach we're taking to it. So I'm very excited. I'm going to just keep reading today. I might even listen to the audiobook a little bit more. We'll just see if we can get through it. Chapter 64, page 423 of Daughter of No World. So we're definitely getting close to the end. I think I'll be able to finish this tonight. This is what romantasy used to feel like for me. It used to feel like just a really good slow burn, emphasis on slow burn. And I feel like this has been a bit of a slow burn. Like definitely could have been a tiny bit slower. Like if I don't know, I have this thing where I really like the romance to not really sprout until like the second book or something if we're talking about a series, but like that doesn't always happen. I think that's just YA fantasies. But in terms of slow burn, it's done pretty well. I definitely really can feel, I don't even know if it's their chemistry. It feels like a really soft, wholesome love. I feel like I'm so used to, it's not that kind of, and like whilst I do love some witty banter, it's not really witty banter. Like they do joke around with each other, but it just feels like a really strong connection between the two of them. And I'm really, really liking that. I feel like I really missed that, just like raw, deep connection. Loving that aspect of it. But as I said earlier, when I updated you, we did have like this really intense change in plot. Suddenly got so much more intense, but I can also see it kind of annoying me in the future. I don't know if that makes sense. There's that one point where you're like, okay, this is definitely going to up the plot a lot. It heightens the stakes. Everything is a lot more intense, but it could also get to a really, really annoying part in terms of communication, in terms of, I want to say overall goals and everything. It kind of like, I don't know, makes the protagonist's goals a little bit murky. So I'm a little nervous because of that. I feel like it's not really going to bother me in this book too much, but I feel like it could be something that could bother me in the future books, depending on how this book ends. And I mean, it is a trilogy. I do want to read the second book, and it's like already I'm immediately going to be continuing this series because I really, really like how Casara Broadbent writes. I mean, I knew that I liked her writing anyway, but it is giving similar feels to Servant of the Wings of Night, like the same kind of feeling I got when I read that. She just does really good fantasy romances. They're really well paced. They have the right amount of action, of adventure, but also of like slower moments and really like building and setting the scene, setting the world, and of course establishing a really great connection between our characters and just like dynamics in general, not even just like the romantic connections. So honestly, like all good things to say from here. Yeah, I'm a little bit iffy on what that trope is going to do. Like I'm like, oh, I don't know. It could start to really annoy me. So I'm a bit nervous going. As I said, I think I'll finish it tonight, so I'll update you when I do. I think it's just one of those books that's like been on my TBR for such a long time that I went in with quite low expectations just because I haven't ever been in the mood to pick it up. But I feel like I'm starting to find my love for romantasy again. And I'm not in the same obsession for it, but it's kind of sitting to where romances once were for me. Like it's a really fun brain break. It reminds me of why I love just like forgetting about the world and immersing myself in a really fun world. All good things, I'd say. Finished Daughter of No Worlds, And honestly, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with the rest of the series now. I just wasn't expecting to love this series as much, or I just wasn't expecting to be as intrigued with this series, to be as motivated to continue it after I finished. I was like, it was kind of one that I wanted to test the waters, see if I actually wanted to read this series. But I am shocked at how good this was. I also loved the pacing of everything, and obviously indie authors have it very, very different because they don't have different editors telling them what to cut out and what to keep and everything. So I feel like indie books in themselves, I'd love to read a lot more because they're always really, really different. They have a different feel to them, sometimes for the better, sometimes for not so good, but like this was done really, really well. The ending was good. It left a lot open, but in the sense that it also was quite satisfying. Like, I'm not instantly wanting to continue onto this, but I also think you could read it back to back, if that makes sense. I do think I'll download the next one for my trip because I just want to have the option there. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited actually, even though I just cancelled my subscription, but I can always just buy it on Kindle. I like supporting the author anyway, so I might download the second one for the rest of my trip because I think I will really, really enjoy it. But overall, I did enjoy it. I think there were definitely some parts, like I'm trying to think. I don't think it's a 5-star. I don't know what I'd rate this. I'm always on a little bit of a high when I finish books like this because I just never expect them to be as good as they are, and that's a good thing. But like then I kind of reflect back on them and I'm like, oh, I don't think it was like as high a rating as I said. I think I was just on a bit of a high. Sometimes it stays high, a rating, but I do wish the romance was a tiny bit more of a slow burn. Towards the end I was like, oh, okay, we've got like full-on confessions here. I kind of wanted to be dragged out a little bit more, especially because it's a trilogy and you have that option. Honestly, so happy we read this. For my next read, I think I am going to go on to, I have it over here ready, The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston. This is coming out in July, and I have read The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Really, really enjoyed it. This one is basically about a secret garden. Catherine actually wanted me to read this one and she really, really loved it. I feel like as well, if you were in summer, this is like the perfect summer read. I really like Ashley Poston. It's a magical realism setting, so a bit of a change of pace, a bit slower, a bit cozier, and just fun, a bit of a brain break, which I think is very, very needed. So I think I'm going to dive into this one now and I'll update you when I'm in a little bit. Okay, I am 60 pages into The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston at chapter 8. One thing I have noticed is all of the chapter titles are like, all the chapter titles are these really funny names. I'm not going to try and pronounce that for the life of me. You guys know me and pronunciations with words I don't know. I'm liking it so far. It's very cozy, it's very whimsy, but also it's kind of funny because like you do have mention of like modern things like AirPods and things like that. So those kind of elements bring you back into reality. And this is, as I said, magical realism. So we're set in the normal current world, but we just have these magical little elements in it to make remind your life that it can be whimsy too. So basically we are following Sophie, and she is currently working at Lilymore Manor. She visited Lilymore Manor for the first time 10 years ago with her best friend at the time, who she like lived with. They were roommates, and she's come back to work here 10 years later. She's always worked like as a gardener. She's worked as an internship in the Royal Botanic Gardens in New York. Always loved gardening, but I think it's always also caused her this kind of sense of like, is this good enough? Like she's making only just a livable wage. Like she's not making heaps. She really has to just scratch by some months. So she's kind of always been not sure if this is like the correct path that she's on, even though she loves what she does. I really, first of all, love the dynamic between the mum and Sophie. Her mum is so cute. She said this line and it was like, take care of yourself like you would take care of a seedling. And I was like, that is so cute and so right. I really like their dynamic so far. Very, very cute. It seems like there's a pretty tight-knit group of people who work on Lilymore Manor because it's like a house area garden thing. And so like there's landscapers and it's a pretty tight-knit group. I'm interested to see more about them. Basically, Sophie has wandered into the garden that she works with all the time and sees a blue door. She walks through that blue door and finds a man who is literally just lying down sleeping in the garden. And when she mentions it to other people in this estate, they have no idea what she's talking about. So I guess that's our little magical realism aspect of it. I'm excited to just keep reading this. I haven't read a book like this for ages, and I'm really, really going to enjoy a different change of pace, like something a little bit easier, I think. I have actually made a really big dent into The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston because it is such an easy book to read. It is such a change of pace for me, and I am so, so grateful for that because I feel like I really, really needed it. It's not like standing out to me as like this really emotional, moving kind of read, but it's a very whimsy read. And I will say, I feel like I'm noticing a theme of Ashley Poston Poston's. I've only read one book, by the way. I've only read The 7 Year Slip. But like when you think about Dead Romantics as well, she kind of has this theme of like exploring grief. Or I don't know, maybe like death is a theme. I'm not exactly sure, but she has this way of like exploring grief, and our characters I feel like are usually working through some sort of grief. Obviously in The 7 Year Slip, that's a very, very prominent theme. In this one, I would say it's like a little bit less, but it's still a bit of a theme. I do think that gives our protagonist a little bit more depth and a little bit more meaning behind her actions, her, I don't know, just like her situation, I guess. I am enjoying it so far. It's a really cute read. I will say we do have a little bit of a love triangle going on. So basically we are following Sophie, as I said, and then we kind of had these like two love interests going on. So there's the man behind the door that she stumbled across in like this kind of fantasy world, and he's stuck in this garden. And then there's Oliver, who is in, I guess, her real world, like in her day job she sees him. He is, I think, the nephew of the owner of Lilymore. So he's kind of related to the estate and has a kind of closer ties to it. So we've kind of got a little bit of a situation going on there. You guys know I'm not always obsessed with love triangles, but I feel like I am starting to overcome them in the sense that it's not going to ruin a book for me by any means. I do feel like there's something missing. I can't place my finger on it yet. It's just very whimsy at the moment, and I'm loving that vibe, but I also feel like we could have a tiny bit more, maybe detail to it. Ashley Poston's writing as well is always so easy to read. Like it's really digestible. You get lost in it straight away, but it also has a really like kind of flowery sense about it. I'm very excited because it's kind of getting me in the mood for some summer traveling, which I'm very excited about because we are more than halfway through. I didn't even give you a page update, but 214 we are up to. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say I had a realization. I'm pretty sure at the start of every chapter, like, you know how I said names like that, I'm pretty sure they are plant names, I think, or maybe flower names. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's like some sort of plant name though. I do love how much our character just loves gardening. We're praying for some character development to, you know, find what her heart truly desires. We're hoping that we get that. Okay, last night I ended up finishing The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston. I want to say that I just enjoyed it. And to be honest, I liked this book because of the vibes, because of the whimsy, magical vibes. I loved the setting of this. Like Lilymore as a setting was so whimsical and magical. The perfect summer read. Honestly, such an easy read as well. If you want to just read a book, get lost in it, read a book that's very summery, that's very springish, anything like that, perfect time, because it was really cute. And we are set over the summer. I don't think I mentioned that, but we are set over the summer at Lilymore. So obviously it's come out at the perfect time in July. I just don't know that I was obsessed with the conclusion. It kind of felt a little bit typical, and like, it just felt a little bit, oh, okay. That's the conclusion. And like, it felt very like happily ever after-y, which don't get me wrong, okay? I love a happily ever after. It just felt a little bit too happily ever after, like sugar-coated, if that makes sense. I also feel like we did get some character growth through Sophie. We definitely delved into that a little bit. I probably would have wanted more. And I will say, I thought this was gonna be a love triangle. It really didn't have those themes. And if it did, it adopted them in a really great way that was very digestible, very realistic. Realistically, Sophie is not the kind of person that's gonna be like, I love them both in different ways. That's not gonna happen. So that was really refreshing to see, to be honest. I feel like magical realism is also always a hit and a miss for me, because there are elements I really, really like of it. Like I like being transported into this magical version of reality. It feels a bit like a fairy tale, kind of what you'd imagine life is like when you're a kid, you know, like there's that sense of magic about it. But it's also a little bit hard when like there's only one character that's experiencing it. And it looks a little bit insane to other people. And then we also get like drawn back into real life really quickly. And sometimes I'm like, I want to spend a little bit more time in that magical garden. You know, that kind of, I don't know, that's just a me kind of thing. I did like the conclusion, but as I said, it was very like cute. It just didn't make that much of an impact on me. I think it was a really cute read and a really whimsical, fun read. It just didn't like leave a massive mark on me. So I'm thinking like a 3.75, maybe a 4, but I feel like I need to be more critical and realistic with my ratings. There were definitely elements I really liked of it. Again, it was just the setting I was obsessed with though. The setting was so beautiful. It was so vivid in my mind. And if you are in summer right now, this is the perfect kind of read for you. Clearly I'm not, but whatever. Probably added to my experience of it. I do love Ashley Poston's writing. I think she is such a great author. She just writes in such a fun, flowery, but digestible, simple way. Like I read this so quickly. You could easily read this. I just don't know that I was obsessed with the love story as well. I feel like what I was obsessed with was the characters, how Sophie was growing as a character through this experience throughout this summer, because we did have a lot of like things happen to her and she was just, yeah, she was in a really state of change in her life at the moment, a season of change, if you will. And I liked how she really worked through that, and it was very realistic to me. And I liked her as a protagonist. Like, she was quite, I want to say like introverted, which was nice, but yeah, I just don't know how I felt about the romance too much. I don't know, a bit on and off about it. I just have a kind of a, not like a lot of feelings towards it, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys ever have that, like when you read a book and you just don't have a lot of feelings towards it, like you don't feel strongly either way. That was kind of what I felt for the romance in this book. A good book. I would recommend it. I definitely would recommend it. I think it's a really great brain break. I think if you're going on vacation, this is perfect. But yeah, I definitely need to read more by Ashley Poston as well. I really want to read Dead Romantics. I've just heard very mixed reviews, and I feel like Ashley Poston is like that as an author anyway. You either really, really enjoy her books or they're just not for you. Either way is fine, totally fine here. But I think that brings us to the end of today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. The reason it brings us to the end is because I'm literally leaving to Europe tomorrow. So I have no more time. As much as I would have loved to get to Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It, that'll probably be a plane read. I can't lie. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed reading along with me for the week. Thank you for watching to the end of this video. If you have, it means so, so much to me. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.